Nicolas Cage grew up in a world where brilliance and chaos lived side by side. Born Nicholas Kim Coppola on January 7, 1964, in Long Beach, California, he came from a family woven deeply into Hollywood history. His uncle was Francis Ford Coppola, his aunt Talia Shire, and his cousins included Sofia Coppola and Jason Schwartzman. Yet behind the glamour, his childhood was marked by instability. His mother suffered from schizophrenia and severe depression, disappearing for long stretches into psychiatric care. By age 6 she was being institutionalized, and by 12 his parents had separated. Cage learned to cope by becoming hypervigilant, an overachiever who studied her illness like a science experiment, so he could understand the world around him. At 15 he got his first taste of acting with a small role in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Credited under his birth name, he was teased constantly on set with lines from Apocalypse Now, a reminder that he was seen not as an actor but as Coppola's nephew. The experience pushed him to change his name to Nicolas Cage, inspired partly by the comic book hero Luke Cage, and partly by avant-garde composer John Cage. Casting directors didn't immediately accept the change, and even his uncle questioned it, but Cage stuck to the decision. He dropped out of Beverly Hills High School at 17, worked at a movie theater selling popcorn, delivered pizzas, and spent his free time imagining how he'd break into the industry. His first real breakthrough was Valley Girl, shot in just over 3 weeks on a shoestring budget, but earning more than $17 million. Cage's performance was raw, loud, and memorable, setting him apart from the usual romantic leads. Not long after, he earned a small role in Rumble Fish, proving to the cast and crew that he wasn't relying on family connections. Still, rejection from his uncle hurt. He wanted a major part in The Outsiders but lost it to Matt Dillon, and later was passed over for The Godfather Part 3. Cage carried those wounds for years. Throughout the 1980s, he threw himself into roles with an intensity few actors dared to match. For Birdie, he had 2 teeth pulled without anesthesia and wore bandages for weeks to understand his character's pain. For Racing with the Moon, he cut himself to heighten the emotion of a scene. In Peggy Sue Got Married, he chose an eccentric nasal voice that infuriated the cast and crew. Francis Ford Coppola later admitted he regretted allowing it. Cage didn't care. He was building a reputation for unpredictable choices, sometimes brilliant, sometimes baffling. Then came Vampire's Kiss in 1988, one of his most unhinged performances. In a quest for authenticity, he swallowed live cockroaches, 3 in total. Years later he said he regretted it, but the role helped shape what he later called his neo-shamanic acting style, a method fueled by extreme emotional expression and physical intensity. A year earlier he had shown a gentler side in Moonstruck opposite Cher, a performance that earned critical praise and proved he could balance chaos with heart. By the 1990s, Cage had moved into action and cult cinema, starring in Firebirds and then David Lynch's Wild at Heart, where his snakeskin jacket became symbolic of his own individuality. He even brought it from his personal wardrobe to the set. He continued taking risks, appearing in offbeat European films like Time to Kill, and then returned to Hollywood with Honeymoon in Vegas, a comedy film during a period when Cage himself was gambling heavily in real life. Everything changed in 1995 with Leaving Las Vegas. To capture the deterioration of a man drinking himself to death, he consumed real alcohol before certain scenes and immersed himself in addiction studies. The performance won him an Oscar but took an emotional toll, contributing to the breakdown of his marriage to Patricia Arquette. After that, Hollywood transformed him into an action icon with The Rock, Con Air, and Face/Off, which collectively earned huge profits and cemented his status as one of the biggest stars of the decade. With success came excess. Between the late 1990s and mid-2000s, Cage earned around $20 million per film. He bought a dinosaur skull for more than $270,000, multiple luxury cars, a haunted mansion in New Orleans, and even 2 castles. He owned an octopus he claimed helped him act, as well as 2 poisonous albino cobras for which he kept anti-venom on hand. He purchased a private island and amassed rare artifacts, including the coveted Action Comics #1, which was later stolen, and then rediscovered in a storage locker 11 years later. The real estate crash between 2008 and 2009 shattered his financial empire. He owed millions in taxes, had liens placed on his properties, and watched his net worth collapse from roughly $150 million to nothing. Cage blamed his business manager and filed a lawsuit, but the damage was already done. Instead of declaring bankruptcy, he made a decision few major stars would. He worked. Between 2010 and 2015, he appeared in 29 direct-to-video films, earning over $100 million in the process. Some shoots were dangerous. Explosions left him temporarily deaf, and he pushed himself through extreme weather, crashes, and physical exhaustion. But every paycheck helped him chip away at his tax burden and support his mother's medical needs. His personal life remained turbulent. His relationships with Christina Fulton and later Patricia Arquette were fraught with conflict. His 12-year marriage to Alice Kim ended after allegations of drinking, fights, and strain from constant travel. His impulsive 4-day marriage to Erica Koike ended in annulment amid public arguments and accusations. Meanwhile, custody battles and lawsuits added further stress as his private life repeatedly spilled into headlines. Yet his career found a second life. In 2021, the indie film Pig reminded audiences and critics of his depth and subtlety. It was quiet, emotional, and miles away from the bombastic action roles that had dominated his later years. The film earned awards, a resurgence of respect, and a new generation of fans. His offbeat performance in Prisoners of the Ghostland showed he could still embrace the wild side of cinema, but with thoughtful intention rather than desperation. By 2025, Cage had finally paid off his debts. His net worth climbed back to around $40 million, and he settled into a quieter life in Las Vegas, owning a home in Malibu but avoiding the extravagant spending of his past. He still acts, but now on his own terms, choosing roles that interest him rather than ones needed to pay creditors. Like the long-lost comic that resurfaced after a decade, Cage's career has been lost, found, broken, rebuilt, and ultimately transformed. His story, messy, intense, often unbelievable, has become as dramatic as any film he ever starred in.